Hello and welcome to the 14th episode of the Racing Riot podcast. I'm Joshua Stacey and I'm joined alongside my co-host, former jockey Charlie Poste. Charlie, where on earth are we?
Well, Josh, we're at the home of jump racing, 6 weeks away from the greatest show on turf. We are at Cheltenham.
I'm buzzing. We're here, walking the course. It doesn't get bigger than this.
Well, I think when I was riding it was probably bigger than this, but right now in retirement, yeah, this is pretty good.
Yeah, well, we hope this becomes your fortnightly horse racing fix, full of debate, fun and opinions. And a slight disclaimer, for those that have just seen our face and have no idea what's going on, we do a fortnightly podcast on the Racing Post audio platforms. And for those that are listening on those audio platforms, you can actually watch this on YouTube. So make sure you do. We're here at Cheltenham. It's a glorious afternoon. It's getting late in the day now, but it's a glorious afternoon and we're here to talk all things Cheltenham and all things racing at the moment.
But before we start, Josh, on a sadder note, in the past week we've lost two very well-known faces from the world of racing, my friend and former jockey James Banks and Robert Olner, trainer, rider, all-round sort of legend. And you know, I think we just want to, on behalf of us both and Racing Riot, we want to send out our deepest sympathies to all their friends and family and let them know that we're thinking of them at this sad time.
Definitely, it's incredibly sad news, but unfortunately we do have to move on, and we've got a lot to talk about and preview. So where are we right now, Charlie?
Well, we're actually stood down by the third last on the Gold Cup course, and could this be the fence that caused the most expensive mistake in racing?
Why is it the most expensive race?
Well, I'm going to pan you back to 2016, and there was a certain horse, the incredible legend Q Card, chasing the £1 million bonus after winning the Betfair Chase, the King George, and up until this moment, approaching this fence, it all seemed to be on, and it looked like the owner's jockey, Colin Tizard, were onto a serious windfall, and then the third last got in the way.
That was devastating. Shall we head off?
Why don't we?
Let's head off. So the first thing I do want to talk to you about is the Dublin Racing Festival. I was lucky enough to be there last weekend and it was a brilliant spectacle. Leopardstown did a great job, but there was a few highlights on the 2-day card that really stuck out that we need to get into. The first being Cheltenham Poursoir on the Saturday.
Never mind Cheltenham Poursoir, can you just slow down a little bit? We have to have sympathy for our cameraman Dan.
We do.
Who's doing an unbelievable job here.
Hi, Dan.
But he's got to walk the guts a half a mile backwards. So you and your big long legs, just steady up, yeah?
Nice small ones.
Exactly.
Nice small ones. Okay, I've got it now.
Try and walk in sync with me.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm just replicating the big strides that Cheltenham Poursoir is going to take when he thumps home in the champion chase. No?
Look, it was very impressive, first and foremost, and he showed, like a lot of Willie Mullins have done this year, the benefit of his first run, and the way he dismantled Min, who's a fantastic horse in his own right, was mightily impressive. But what a showdown it's setting up to be with DEFI de Soy, and hopefully, after the weekend, redemption for Altior, a comeback trail, and if those three turned up, it'd be some prospect to save her.
Could you imagine if those three turn up? Three of probably the most exciting 2-mile chasers for quite a while. Altior's obviously the king, 19 runs unbeaten until last time against Surname, and then there's been so much confusion about that. He didn't have a run in between, now he's finally looking like he's going to have a run. DEFI de Soy's improved leaps and bounds, beating Underso twice. He looks a mighty, mighty horse, and then Cheltenham Poursoir comes out after losing to a Plutard first time out of Christmas, beats Min impressively. It looks like a fascinating showdown. Who are you looking to have at this sort of stage?
I think, to be honest, DEFI de Soy has done nothing wrong, and for me, he's the one they've all got to beat. My heart is screaming out that Altior comes and wins at the weekend and comes back and shows what one of the greats that I think he is and wins the champion chase for a third time.
It would be some spectacle. I think that's the race of the festival, definitely, and a lot of people are looking forward to it. So another championship race that was talked about on Saturday when Honeysuckle won the Irish Champion Hurdle, was obviously the Champion Hurdle over here, probably the most prestigious 2-mile hurdle in racing. What did you make of Honeysuckle? Because there was sort of umming and ahhing. She got the job done. Did she look electric?
Definitely not electric. I mean, she hurdled very well. I mean, when she sort of loomed up at the last, it looked like she was going to go and win impressively.
I thought so as well.
And then all of a sudden they jumped the last, and you're thinking, hang on a second, Petit Mouchoir's not read the Henry de Bromhead script here and is going to go and beat the stablemate.
Could you imagine if Petit Mouchoir had won the Irish champion hurdle?
Well, I mean, never mind imagining, I could have seen it because it looked for a long time it was going to happen. What I think it shows is that champion hurdle winning form in a normal year? Probably not, but
I don't think so.
It was admirable the way she toughed it out, for sure.
It was. I think she jumped big for a champion hurdle winner, in my opinion. I think she didn't scream electric over the fences, and I think a traditional champion hurdle winner and a traditional champion hurdle, you need to be so slick at your hurdles. But the problem is, it doesn't look like it's going to be a traditional champion hurdle in the sense that there's no real big star.
Okay, so who do you see winning the champion hurdle?
See, I was thinking of this on the way here, and the more I think about it, the more I don't like EP14.
Yep.
I loved her to win. I really, really wanted her to win the Mayor's Novice here last year, but she turned up, she ran no sort of race whatsoever. I can't see her. Look, it happens. Paisley Park obviously had a poor run in the Albert Bartlett, came back and looks an absolute monster. Can I see EP14 doing that? I'm not sure. Honeysuckle wouldn't be for me. Saldier's had injury problems. If I'm being deadly serious, if it turns up soft on the Tuesday, I think I'll be with Classical Dream.
Really? As in, Classical Dream, like if we have a supreme novice performance from Classical Dream, he's the one they've all got to beat, but it's looked a long way from that in 2 runs this year. I just have a sneaking suspicion now, and I was probably anti at the beginning of the season, but on some slightly better ground, held up and brought with 1 run, Pentland Hills for me. There was something about Haydot that I actually thought showed potential, and I just wonder if he could be the one to get it all together on the Tuesday at Cheltenham.
Could it be a year too soon?
Possibly. I mean, look, we've seen in many years that for these juveniles coming through like this, it's very difficult to go and win a champion hurdle in their first season out of juvenile hurdling. But this is not a vintage year, Josh, and I just wonder if he could be the one. And it wouldn't be the first time that Nicky Henderson has got one primed for the champion hurdle.
I agree. Before we move on to the Sunday action, we do need to just look at this. Look where we are. We're at the bottom of the hill now at Cheltenham. The sun is at the top of the straight. You've got the grandstand. How glorious does it look? Does this make you excited for Cheltenham?
Yeah, I'm absolutely revved, mate. But I thought when you said that initially, we were going to pan round to Rob, who's bought his first pair of wellies today.
He has. Our cameraman, Rob, has got his first pair of wellies. Never had a pair of wellies in his life.
Never in his life. It's like Christmas for Rob, and he said to me that he's going to wear them to work and to the pub this weekend.
It was the cold feet this morning that did it, wasn't it? He went straight out at lunchtime, got himself a new pair of wellies, and he's loving it.
And they are Bobby Dazzlers.
They are. Look at it. He's got a spring in his step.
Look at you, like a gazelle.
It is magical. Let's head into the Sunday action. And the one that really impressed me was Asterion Forlonge for Willie Mullins, winning the Grade 1 2-mile novices hurdle. Willie came out after and said, maybe not supreme, and then he said maybe supreme, because obviously the owners have got Shishkin, who's fancied for the race, who actually runs tomorrow, funny enough.
Yep.
What do you think?
I thought it was very exciting.
He did. He reminded me a bit of a Champagne Fever.
Yeah, I mean, look, for sure. I mean, certainly early on in his career, Champagne Fever looked fantastic, didn't he?
He did.
The way Asterion Forlonge, a young horse, very much so on the young upgrade, but breeze aside, easy work, it was mightily impressive, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And also, in the background, if you're noticing noise at all, that's because all of the construction companies are getting the festival ready. As you can see, the stands are coming up. You've got the pre-parade ring, the Guinness Village. Charlie will definitely be in there over the course of the week. So yeah, if you can hear the noise, it's because everyone's getting prepared for Cheltenham.
I wonder, are you going to pick out which one is yours for the corporate hospitality? At Racing Josh hosting, no?
Just the big one up there, I think.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, very nice. Let's move on again to the Sunday's action. Notebook came out and won the Irish Racing Post Arkle. Can he follow up in the Racing Post Arkle here?
100%. 100% he can. what I love about Notebook is he just looks rock solid, doesn't he? I mean, another advertisement, and it's been said recently in the media about what a job Henry de Bromhead does with the schooling of these chasers, and he is electric to jump, and the faster they go, the better I think it's going to suit him. He's brushed aside Fakir Duderi on his previous run, and then he brushed aside Cashback.
He did.
And for me, who are you having against him right now?
Look, I had a look at some stats, and 10 out of the last 10 winners have come out and won before. So you need a horse that's got confidence going into the race. Fakir Dudari obviously needs to come out and, I think, win. And if he does, I think I'll be siding with him. I think he's just got slightly more class.
He's not going to go for the Marsh Chase, no?
See, I think 2 miles, it's a weak Arkle. I think if I personally owned him, I think I'd be going for an Arkle. I think he was given a ride that maybe Mark Walsh would have maybe changed if he could have done it again when he was beaten by Notebook, maybe be a bit more prominent. I just don't think I don't think he's that classy. He's done everything right. I just don't think he's that classy.
You're asking for a lot, because I think for an Arkle, you've got to see the race out well. And to me, he's got serious tenacity, Notebook. He finds plenty of pressure. He's a bold jumping, strong travelling 2-mile chaser. What more do you want?
We're going to have to disagree.
Fair enough.
Those watching at home, what did you make of Notebook? And if you thought he was impressive, if you think he'll win the Arkle, make sure you let us know down in the comments. Now, moving on. Faugheen. Where do we start?
I mean, he just keeps bucking all the trends, doesn't he?
I said on Twitter that was my greatest day on a race course. And it just was. He didn't look like he was going particularly well. He looked like he was plodding, hitting a few fences, and then suddenly lit up down the back. The whole crowd go, whoa, could this be it? And then he's there, flying the last, in front, and stays on quite well, doesn't he?
Look, it was a special performance, and irrespective of what he does at Cheltenham now, and look, we all hope he's going to go and win a novice chase at the festival at the ripe old age of 12, but this season has been special anyway, because to be almost written off, I'd be the first one to admit I was unsure about this novice chase campaign at this stage of his life.
Yeah.
But wow, Willie Mullins has been vindicated, and like I say, whatever happens now, it's a bonus really for me.
It is. I couldn't believe it. 12 years old. He beat a good field. It wasn't the strongest form in the world, but considering he didn't look like he was going particularly well, I thought it was very impressive how he did it. Do you think realistically he's going to come here and win in March?
Well, realistically,
he's favourite for the March chase.
He's a former festival winner. We know he handles the hype and the atmosphere. He obviously goes well at the track. Why can't he?
It would just be a dream. That would be a dream. I think the whole house would come down. I don't think any other race would matter that day. It would all be about Faugheen, and it would just be a magical, magical, magical moment, and a great way to start the Thursday.
It really would. I mean, like I say, he's probably a great as it is, isn't he? You know, as a hurdler, and to be able to do what he's done and adapt to chasing at this stage of his life, it's phenomenal, and it speaks volumes for the horse, because he must have incredible testament of character and will to be able to switch over that late on in his career, and it's a special, special horse.
Yeah, I think the one thing that Willie Mullins probably regrets now is not doing it earlier. Definitely.
Well, maybe. Yeah.
Okay, Charlie, let's move on to the Irish Gold Cup. We saw Delta Work beat Kenboy. Presenting Percy travelled well, but probably didn't finish out his race. What did you make of the Irish Gold Cup, and have we seen the Cheltenham Gold Cup winner in that race?
Have we seen the Cheltenham Gold Cup winner? He's definitely a contender, you know, as in he stays very well. Again, at the moment, I think the Gold Cup is screaming out for an absolute standout contender, isn't it? And what's funny is, from initially crabbing it with their early performances, the RSA form is really coming to the fore now, isn't it?
It is.
You know?
It makes you think what top of the game could have been.
I think, again, top of the game could be a very exciting horse for next season, couldn't he still? Because he's such a massive horse, I don't see that the year off will do him any harm. He might come back bigger and stronger than ever.
You never know.
And after seeing Santini and Delta Work now frank the form, it's going to be exciting for him.
I know. Album Photo, I think, enhanced his chances by just staying in his box. I don't think they were impressive. Kenboy sort of jumped weirdly. Delta work. I don't think he's a Gold Cup winner, but here we're at the second last. This is what the Gold Cup winner will be seeing, maybe in front of this point, maybe not. Just explain to me here, as you can see the straight there, is it such a strenuous hill and such a strenuous test getting up there?
For sure it is, because if we even pan back round to the bend, you know, we can see that we're climbing all the way from there. And this, Josh, it's at the end of 3¼ miles of top class racing with relentless pace, jumping tests. It's the best of the best. And so by the time we get to this stage, they've covered the guts of 3 miles already at frantic speed, all this jumping that's come in, and then you face up to this last pull, especially if the ground is slow, and that's what makes the Gold Cup the ultimate test.
Could it be Santini? Because the year that Native River won it, he wasn't necessarily the quickest horse in the world, but he just stayed. A bit like Santini, he's a bit of a boaty sort of horse where all he will do is stay, but he doesn't have that turn of foot.
Is Nicky Henderson going?
I think he'd probably agree.
I doubt it.
He doesn't have those gears that, say, a Might Bite would back in his heyday. But look at that. Beautiful, isn't it?
I think it's a good point. I mean, Santini, for me, as it stands, I would say that I think he lacks the out-and-out class of some of these vintage winners that we've seen in recent years, the Corto Stars and Denmans.
Yeah.
But I think there probably isn't one of those right now. And if it does turn into a stamina test, Santini seems to be coming forward with every run this season.
I think he could
and with a little bit more improvement, he has to come into the mix, doesn't he?
Well, he ran, considering he didn't have the best preparation, I thought he ran a blinding race. If you look back on it now, to beat Delta Work in the RSA, to go within half a length of top of the game, he had no preparation whatsoever. Do you think if that Santini turned up here with better preparation, surely he's got to be in the mix?
He's a contender for sure, but the Gold Cup for me right now is one of, you could name sort of half a dozen horses, and the Native Rivers, Alboom Photo, Santini's, Delta Works, they're all very much, not to say much of a muchness is unfair on their levels, but I feel they're all very much together in ability.
Yeah.
And there's not one of them that I would say is that far clear of the others. And so I think the Gold Cup is going to come down to who gets the best trip on the day and who turns up in the best form, because I think any one of a number of them could win it. But is Kemboy an Aintree horse?
Is Kemboy an Aintree horse? See, I think I used to say Kemboy was a flat track bully.
Yep.
And then he won at Punchestown so well, and Punchestown is not flat by any means. I don't know, for some reason I can't have him in a Gold Cup. He doesn't scream a Gold Cup winner. He screams pace, he jumps well usually. He didn't last time. No. I think he'll win at Aintree, like you say.
And another one for you then. What about the Enigma presenting Percy? Can it all come together on Gold Cup day for him?
Well, when we were in the stands at Leopardstown and you saw Davy Russell swinging on presenting Percy, I thought, here we go, this is the race for him. They found the one, they're going for it. And it's not that he didn't stay, he just didn't have the same turn of foot that Kemboy and Delta Work had. So he was just sort of left plodding on a bit. I don't know.
And one more then for the mix. What about Lostintranslation? This season's forgotten horse now. He's gone off for the magic wind up. And if that helps, and he turns up on Gold Cup day, and all of a sudden he can breathe better, which he struggled with in the King George, can he be victorious?
Do you think he's forgotten? I don't think he's forgotten. I just think he had a poor run in the King George. I think he's a fair price, the price that he is, and I don't think that he should be known as a forgotten horse necessarily. I think people are still quite happy to side with him.
Okay, it's cards on the table time then. Who wins the Gold Cup?
If I was going to say now, I think I'd be boring and I'd say Alboom Photo. I just think he's too good and he enhances chances. Seems to love Cheltenham. I think I'll be with him. What about you?
I think we agree.
Alboom Photo.
Alboom Photo.
Could this be the year of Clanders Oboe?
Oh, I suppose we haven't even mentioned him,
Paul Nicholls has put him in his box and he's not said, you're not going anywhere.
But we obviously don't think so, because neither of us have mentioned him now, which is silly. We've got an Alboom Photo.
Album photo, okay. A horse that I do want to touch on that could win here in March is Appreciate It. He was so impressive in the Irish bumper on the Saturday. And I spoke to Patrick after. He said, look, hopefully I get to ride him in that race. He looked a machine, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's probably the best bumper form on offer this season.
Probably.
And he's trained by a man that's a master of winning the champion bumper. The difficulty for punters is it's not always with the one that's the first string, is it?
No. Mullins just usually has 5 in the race. It's the one that you haven't picked out. You've circled every single one except from that one other one that you think, no, it's not the one.
Exactly. And so do I think that he'll probably start the day as favourite? Is he the horse going into the race with the strongest form? Yes. Does that always mean that he will go and win the champion bumper? No.
I agree. I like the two. I like the Israel Champ and Appreciate It. We're now coming up to the final fence. The final fence in the Gold Cup, what it will be. How many memories have been made here? And you could just imagine now, obviously you've had this experience, but I've not. Riding up to this fence, you've got 65,000 people cheering
Probably
you
more on Gold Cup.
Every single decision under scrutiny. Are you nervous jumping the last? All you want to do is just get over safe.
Look, what you want coming down to the last is you want that you're meeting it on a good stride so you can just go forward as a rider. You don't have to think about it. The difficulty for a jockey comes when you're sort of in between shots. Are you going to be very long or are you going to be meeting it very deep and you have to sit back and take back? So the best scenario now, if you're in front in the Gold Cup, is you can see your shot and 3, 2, 1, up and over, head down then and keep pushing away to the top of the hill and you're hopefully going to ride a Gold Cup winner.
Who's your favourite Gold Cup winner?
Ooh, tough one. I'm going to go, in my lifetime, Corto Star, you know, as in I just think he had everything. He's a horse that's won a Tingle Creek, he's won 5 King Georges, he's won 2 Gold Cups, the only one to regain the crown.
Yeah.
Horse of a lifetime. And I think when we see like the way that like Altior has played out this season, how difficult that is to go up in trip and to be versatile like he was.
He was.
And you? I mean, you're probably not old enough to remember any Gold Cups.
Here we go. I thought you got your episodely, what's the word? Once an episode dig.
Yeah.
Age dig.
Of course.
It's not cool anymore. It's not cool. It hurts my feelings and I go home and cry about it.
Well, that's what I hope for, so carry on.
Horrible. I need to mention your bad rides more.
Yeah, possibly.
You definitely
There's plenty of them.
Definitely. Did you have any bad ones around here? Ones that you regret and you go, oh, that wasn't the greatest one in the world?
No, I don't think so. Not round here.
Just too much of a pro. Won every time.
I didn't win every time round here, but not. Anyway, favourite Gold Cup, come on.
Favourite Gold Cup for me would be... that is the cameraman actually just bumping into this because he's walking backwards up the Cheltenham Hill. Maybe someone should have said that before. We apologise, Dan. Yeah. My favourite Gold Cup winner was probably be my first one that I properly remember when I was really into racing, and that was Synchronised.
Yeah.
I remember that well because my mum backed him in the National after. Obviously, that didn't go so well. But he was a brilliant horse, and he was given a brilliant ride by AP.
Yeah, I mean, and that just probably brings us well into the Gold Cup this year because I don't think anyone in their wildest dreams would say that Synchronised Welsh National, Midlands National winner was a vintage Gold Cup winner.
Very true.
And he just showed
I don't think they agree with you over there.
He just showed that with stamina to the fore that day and probably not so many outstanding rivals, he was able to get the job done. And I see this Gold Cup as possibly a similar sort of scenario.
You never know. You never know. Look at this. This is stuff that I dream of. You are so lucky that you get to do this. You get to turn up on a race day, walk the course before. From a racing fan's perspective, seeing the Cheltenham grandstand, you can just imagine all the people flooding the stands. We're about to walk up the final climb to the finish. Right now, if you're in front, do you think I just need to hold on to get there? Because you, funny enough, rode Thomas Crapper, who's got a close connection to me and my family. When you rode him to victory here, what was the feeling like when you're here? Are you just desperate? Because I know that in those 2 races, he had horses behind him trying to get past. Whisper he beat that day.
Yeah. Well, look, as in when you're here and that line is in sight, and like I say, I was never lucky enough to win a Gold Cup or anything like that. You just want the line to come quickly, you know, as in you're desperate not to hear the sudden change in noise from the crowd where you probably know it's something closing you down.
Yeah.
You just want the line to be there and the euphoria to start because you won. The worst thing is knowing something is getting to you and you're screaming out for the line.
Is it a really sad feeling when they go past?
It's the worst feeling, you know, as in that you can't, to have that sort of euphoric feel where here and you might be thinking you're going to win, to have it snatched away from you, it's the worst feeling in the world. But as a competitive person, I'd probably feel that if I was playing five-a-side football, never mind here, you know.
Well, I'm actually surprised, funnily enough, of football, I'm surprised you managed it this far.
I know.
What happened? You've been hobbling around all day.
Luckily, so I had nothing on Sunday, so I thought I was going to be able to play for the team that I play 11-a-side for on Sunday morning. I'm out there, I'm fresh, you know, we hadn't been out the night before, woke up, ready to roll.
Unlike you.
30 minutes in, I get clattered by one of my own teammates.
I think you deserved it.
And I've gone down, I'm worried I haven't done ligaments in my knee. I mean, and you've made me walk around the track. I think this is our third lap.
I think he backed Cooper Square at Warwick and he's just getting one back. Have that.
Probably. I think he's just so clumsy he didn't realise I was there.
But I'm surprised. I'm happy that you made it this far. If not, it'd be a bit of a difficult episode to film.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah.
We're here. Look at this. The post is in sight.
Okay, so give me one then. The post in sight. This year's Cheltenham Festival. Who are you most hoping to see go past this line in front?
Who am I most hoping to see go past this line? I don't have a specific horse necessarily. I want the young lads to come through and have a winner, as in like the conditional jockeys, your Ben Joneses, your Conor Braces, your John Joe Juniors, because they're ultimately, you know, the future of the sport. And to see one of those young lads, it's always special when a young lad has their first winner. John Joe Jr. had it last year on early doors in the very last race, and I always get a buzz when it's someone like that. What about you?
I've got two for you.
Okay.
I would like to see Itchy Feet win the Marsh Chase for one of my great friends, Ollie Murphy.
Surely you want to see Faugheen.
So I want, no. I'm going to show loyalty to my mates.
Yeah.
And so I want to see him have his first Cheltenham Festival winner with recent Grade 1 scorer Itchy Feet.
Yeah.
And the second one, from a personal point of view, a horse that we produced and sold from the yard at home. Third time lucky, I'd like to see him smash the Irish in the champion bumper.
Do you think he's good enough?
I think it's possibly questionable, but he's been nothing but impressive in his two recent starts, and he goes there with a squeak.
I agree.
And I'm going to beat you to the line.
You have. I've lost my only run around Cheltenham. You can do this whenever you want.
I know.
And I've lost.
But that's the thing, mate. You need to get out of bed earlier. Yawning.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, don't appreciate that at all. But we do hope you've enjoyed this Cheltenham talk. It's the finishing line. This is it. This is the end of the Racing Riot podcast this week. Have you enjoyed it, Charlie?
Absolutely loved it.
A little bit different.
It's been different, but it's been great.
Been a nice workout. I've never done so much walking in my life.
I know, but at least you've got a pair of wellies.
Thank you very much for listening to the podcast or watching it on YouTube. If you did enjoy it, make sure you hit the like button. Everything helps. But yeah, thank you very much. And we did hope you enjoy. We'll see you next week, and goodbye.